We don't often think of listening to podcasts as problem solving, but it happens. A smart podcaster knows how to present solutions to their audience, as well as who else is helping solve those same problems. Hello and welcome to another Podcast Pontifications with me, Evo Terra. What are the problems your audience needs to be solved? Understanding their pain points can really help you, the podcaster, craft your message, your approach, and set up proper expectations for your audience. Problems fall into one of two camps, typically: acute problems and chronic problems. Acute problems are those things that need to be solved once, ideally quickly, but not necessarily, and then that is no longer a problem. It's fixed. Take filing taxes this year, or any given year for that matter. All the deductions and changes in tax law. Anyone doing that needs very specific information from someone like you, perhaps a podcaster, but that information needs to be somewhat wide because they don't know what they don't know about the problem. But they do only think about that problem once, and then it's gone for at least a year. Now, if you're servicing that audience or an audience like that with your podcast, you need to put out some quick hit content. You need solid titles on that content to help your episodes stand out as they're sorting through what they're going to listen to solve their problems with their podcast that day. Or maybe think about someone going on a really long flight, like 8 hours, and they need a lot of content to keep them entertained or informed while they're in the air. Now, they're going to want to download that content and take it with them. All those episodes should flow together nicely as well. They don't want to be grabbing their phone and resorting in the middle of the flight, even though they could. Now, if you're servicing that audience or an audience like that with your podcast, maybe you need to put out a series of episodes or a collection where you focus on branding the entirety of the series so that they grab the correct content, not just a few random episodes. Or let's say perhaps we've got a consumer out there looking for the best laptop to fit their needs. For them, features and benefits are obviously going to be quite clear. Now, if you're servicing that audience with your podcast or an audience like that with your podcast, you need to have a format that makes it very easy for the listener to understand what you're trying to convey. Maybe give some comparisons, some reviews. Whatever it happens to be, whatever these acute problems are, knowing why your audience is there allows you to craft the right kind of content to solve their immediate acute problems. Now, chronic problems are more longer term, but maybe even perpetual. Instead of filing taxes, it's financial planning or it's money management that your audience might be interested in. So if you're servicing that audience with your podcast, you need higher concept episodes that focus on the why questions and also all the positive benefits and reward reaping that keeps your podcast's audience coming back to you for more of that. For our travelers, let's go wider on a more chronic problem. Maybe instead of a single one-time long flight, this person travels frequently. Or maybe they have a day job where they have something they need to listen to for multiple hours a day. I don't know, they're a driver, they've just got a boring job, whatever. If you're servicing that audience with your podcast, you have to develop a good amount of content, a nice healthy back catalog, which means you have to find ways to increase your output. Maybe you should consider collaborating with another podcaster, showcasing work of other podcasters, or even syndicating other content that helps you build up that healthy collection and back catalog that much quicker. And instead of a single big electronics purchase, maybe you and your podcast service an audience that is deeply interested in the latest and greatest technology, for example. If that's the case, you need to become a trusted source. Not just your podcast, but you need to become that trusted source. Still super smart for you to have a format that makes the content you're going to share easy to digest, along with reviews and comparisons and that kind of stuff. But also, you might need to inject more you into your show to keep your brand recognition high as you become that true trusted source. Now, of course, were it this easy, it'd be great. We'd choose what problems we're going to solve for our audiences, acute or chronic, but it's not that easy. And I'll tell you why. In reality, your audience has both acute and chronic problems to solve. Your task is to make your podcast an invaluable resource to both of those needs, actually. Not necessarily every single need, but most of their needs, both acute and chronic. But here's the reality. It's not just us. You and I both know that it's sometimes much easier to jump on YouTube, do a quick search to find a fast answer. And as much as we podcasters like to gripe about the crap info that sometimes litters YouTube, it's not all bad. There are good stuff. We use it. And we certainly can't beat the searchability of YouTube. Not yet in podcasting. You and I also know that books exist, whether those are paper books, electronic, audiobooks, don't really care. And we also know that those books often make a nice little container of knowledge or entertainment. And they certainly are more often on point with a lot less extraneous content. We also know the experience of consuming a book is pretty darn uniform from cover to cover. So here's the reality again, as much as your audience loves you, they're going to consume other content that delivers the same type of advice you do. That means they're going to cheat on you. And that's okay. I mean, really, the best you can do is make the best podcast content that you possibly can. Just understand that a good amount of your audience may dip in and out of your content as they dip in and out of other people's content over time. You can't solve every single problem that's out there. But you can work to make sure you've covered as much of the problem landscape as makes sense for you and your podcast. With that, I shall be back with yet another podcast, Pontifications. Cheers.